something a bit different today. I've seen on social media quite a few times people asking, where are their books on dragons? What's available on dragons? Where do you start with dragons? Where do people get their information from on dragons? All this kind of thing. And in all honesty, there's not a lot out there. So I thought this would be the perfect time to do this video and just share some dragon, where to start with dragons really, and why there's not a lot out there. And a bit of my background and how I came to work with dragons and everything else. And a bit about dragon teachers and so on. So first of all, no, there's not a lot of dragon stuff out there. And what is out there frequently is down the pagan and Wiccan path. Now, when I was creating my Dragon Path Oracle, these, which you're probably all familiar with now, it was around the same time that Diana Cooper was creating her Dragon Oracle. We both launched in the same year, a couple of months apart, unbeknown to each other. So we've both been being given dragon information around the same time. Well, I've been given mine 15 years prior, but, you know, I was collating all mine fully for the deck around the same time that Diana Cooper was working with her stuff. So you've got the collective consciousness stuff going on here. But what was really interesting is I wanted to call mine Dragon Oracle. And I got this resounding no from the dragons, as happens. They had to be called Dragon Path. And I was quite resistant to this, as I am, because I'm like that. And they were really insistent that they were called Dragon Path Oracle. Now, what's really interesting is that I did a bit of a trawl through Facebook a year or so, 3 years ago. And I came across a number of dragon groups. And what's come out of that is that there is a thing called the Dragon Path, which I had no idea about. And the Dragon Path is a very Wiccan pagan path way of working with dragon, which then ties in really neatly of why over the last, I don't know, particularly the last 2 or 3 years, the dragons have been on at me and nagging at me to walk the wheel of the year. Now, I've always had a very loose interest in sort of the pagan, the Wiccan ways. I don't do spells and all that kind of stuff. It's not my kind of thing. But I've always sort of marked for a very long time the passing of the wheel of the year. You know, Imbolc, Samhain, summer solstice, whatever. But about a year or so ago, the dragons got a message to me to actually start to walk the wheel of the year, not in ceremony within a coven, but with walking the labyrinth. And so I actually started walking the labyrinth at Samhain in 2020. And so every Sabbath equinox, I go. There's a place I go to, and I walk the labyrinth, and I will complete that cycle until Samhain this year. And I'll probably, to be fair, I'll probably keep doing it, because each time you walk the labyrinth, something else happens. So that's how I mark the wheel of the year and how I follow that form of the dragon path. But going back to my original question, where can you find dragon information? And where do people like me get our information? And where are the books? There are a couple of authors that I know of, and I can't remember the name of one of them. I should have done my research, I am sorry. If I can remember it or I find it, I'll stick it in the links. But there's also, I think it's a lady, and I think she's called D.K. Conway. Now, she's actually passed over. She passed over a year or so ago. And she's done 3 or 4 dragon books. But again, following sort of threads and reviews and things like this that I've done on them, if you're very much into the Wiccan pagan path, then they'll be right up your street. But if that kind of stuff doesn't interest you, then they're not the books for you. So, but where did she get her information from? And where does anybody get their information from? But obviously I'm talking about me here. And where did I get my information from? Anything that I share and teach, I do completely, is given to me directly by the dragons. So I've never been taught by anybody about dragon. Everything I do is given to me directly from the dragon realms and the dragon clans. And a friend of mine a few years ago was going off on a dragon workshop for the day. And she said, "Oh, Caroline, are you going to come to this dragon workshop?" It's like, no. "Oh, come on, you ought to come to this dragon workshop. Be really good." No. Because what I don't want to do is be influenced by other people's information. I don't want to get it... Tainted's the wrong word, but I don't want to have somebody else's input put into my work. Apart from the fact that me being me, I'll start second guessing myself and think I've got it all wrong. So I've muddied the waters myself enough without having anybody else's input put into my work or having anybody else's influences. So everything that I share, I do, I write, I give out, I teach, all of it is orchestrated by the dragons. Now, whether that's a direct download of a workshop or whether they influence who I speak to or where I go, you know, the synchronicities of things, that's if they can't get my attention as a direct download. They will set stuff up, if you like, so I get the message because, you know, I'm busy, you know, I'll get in my head like everybody else and so on. And sometimes it's a little bit harder to get the message across. So they will set things up for me. So I actually get the message. So everything for me is directly from dragon. And the way I do that is, as you know, they'll set me up with, you know, situations, people, conversations, a book, whatever. But the bulk of it comes from direct written channeling and meditation. And often when they want my attention, they will nag at me to go to my dragon meditation room and my room that I teach small groups in. And they've got something to say to me specifically, or they've got something to teach me, because I only teach what they've taught me and I've got to experience it to teach you guys. And so I'll get this nag, and it could go on for a couple of days, and I'll go and sit down in my dragon room, and it starts off normally that I'll be meditating. And then dragons can be a little bit impatient with our humanness. And they decide that sometimes it's quicker. If they show me the bones of something, they will then decide it's quicker for me to write, and they will channel directly to me. But if I need to absolutely experience something, I've got a chakra workshop coming up that I've been working on now for maybe 18 months. And I keep dipping in and out of it. And they wanted it actually to be done in March, and I just ran out of time in March. So it will actually be going out sometime, I hope, in April, and there'll be a live event on Zoom. And, you know, they've been giving me the information bit by bit, but I've had to experience and go through. Hold on, silent. Silent. Thank you. Chakras. So they've taken me through the chakra stuff, and I've had to experience it. Some of it's been a written download. Some of it I've had to actually go through. And it's taken probably 18 months to go through this and get it completely nailed. So I'm hoping to have this ready in April. And there'll be handouts and everything else to go with it, because it's new chakra colours, it's dragons with the chakras, all that kind of thing. So everything that I get and I share with you guys is direct from the dragons. And that will be true of probably many teachers out there, because there isn't anything else on the market. And so what you have to do when you're one of the only people in the world working and channeling and using dragon energy, you have to learn to trust yourself and trust the process of the dragons. And it's trial and error, you know, and you learn what's real dragon and what's you getting in the way and all this kind of stuff. And as I've done over the last 15 or so years, 15, 16 years. So it is a real trial and error type of thing. And you build your relationship with your dragons like that. Now, obviously, luckily for you guys, there's people like me and others that are now teaching and talking about dragon. When I started, there was nobody. I couldn't find anybody that was talking and doing dragon. And I fumbled around in the dark for a long time. And I learned very quickly, I've just got to trust this process. I think it was a really scary place to be, and start talking about dragon and see who would want to lock me up and who thought, you know, God, she's onto something. And that's how it's always been. And slowly, especially with the, you know, social media and the internet and everything else now, it's much easier to connect with other dragon folk. And we're gradually, you know, we're gradually sort of hooking up and making these connections. We've all got variations on dragon, and we all see dragon in a slightly different way. So that's sort of really what I wanted to come on and say. I don't think there was anything else. Let me look at my notes. So yeah, my background. So, you know, my background didn't start with dragons. My journey started way, 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 way back, as it does with many people that walk the path that are teachers and spiritual leaders. But my dragon, my spiritual path started in earnest back in the late 90s, mid-90s. And I trained as a healer, spiritual healer. I've done platform mediumship. I've run a new age crystal shop and healing centre. I've run a Mind Body Spirit magazine. I've run numerous festivals, Mind Body Spirit festivals and psychic fairs. I've been tarot reading for probably 30 years, or reading the cards for probably 30 years. I've done numerous courses, Reiki, crystal healing, dowsing, Lemurian crystals more recently, colour mirrors work. Oh my God, it's a really long list. And then I've done it personal development stuff. You know, I've been on past life regressions. I've been on retreats. I'm constantly learning, because there's always something to learn in this field. And I'm a typical sponge. You know, I love information. I love learning. Oh, I'm a mindful meditation teacher. What else have I done? Crikey, I can't remember. All kinds of stuff I've done. Oh, I've sort of dipped in and out of the shamanic path. I've dipped in and out of the pagan Wiccan path. You know, I've sort of looked at the Kabbalah and gone, my God, that's far too difficult. Interesting, but I can't get my head around that. So, you know, I've got a really broad experience. And this is the thing with dragon. They don't have just one area. They don't have one thing. They are incredibly broad. You know, they connect to the earth, they connect to the stars, they connect to the galaxies. They connect with colour, symbols, sound, sacred geometry. There's an element of there's a shamanic element to them. There's a healing element to them, and they're so broad. I couldn't cover everything, and I couldn't know everything about dragon. So we've all got like our niches, if you like, of what we do with dragon. Now, obviously, mine has been the Dragon Path Oracle and teaching people to connect with their dragons and whatever the dragons decide they want to give me to share. Obviously, the chakra workshop coming up. But I run healing workshops with the dragons through meditation and that type of thing. Dragons of Atlantis. They gave me a massive load of stuff about Dragons of Atlantis. Then there's the Dragons of Light. There's a whole new thing coming up. So you've got to decide what it is that you want to know about dragons, because it is such a broad spectrum. And the other thing that I've been working with, again, for the last couple of years, is actually putting a book together about dragon and working with dragon. Now, I've had a few stabs at this and a lot of conversations with my editor, and it's just not, what I've got today isn't quite there. It's just not quite right. Because there's so much stuff I could put in, and then what do I put in, what do I leave out? And actually what would be really helpful is, what would you guys like to see in a book about dragon? What is it you guys want to know? Because that for me would help me nail down what is and isn't included in this book. You know, would you like exercises? What sort of exercises would you like? What is it you want to know about dragon? How can dragon help you? What, you know, all that type of thing would be really helpful for me. So I'd love to have your comments below on what it is about dragon that you'd like to learn about, you'd like to know about. And that would actually probably give me the kick up the backside I need to go back and revisit everything I've written. Because it's 3/4 written, but it's like, no, it ain't right. It's not good enough. There's no way that can go out. And so I've just said, right, I've got to park it. and I will park it until that space becomes available for me to revisit it. But obviously it's got to be something that people are going to want. And so, you know, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate your help on that, and what it is you'd like to know about dragon, or you know, your dragon questions, whatever, what you'd like to see included in a book, what would be really helpful to you, what would improve your dragon journey, having this information widely available to you. So that's really all I want to come on and say is, you know, that's my background. That's why there isn't dragon information out there, because there's not many of us do it. There's probably a couple of other authors that have written about dragon. And we're not a closed shop, but we appear to be a closed shop. And it's only when you start talking to people that you go, oh yeah, this person, that person, they do this, they do that. And then you get those connections. But, you know, we often don't say these things, do we? So, of course, we don't know. And I'm all over social media and website and God knows where else. And people are slowly finding me. And obviously they're finding me through the cards. So the cards are now completely global. So they're finding me through the cards. But, yeah, it does seem we're a very small community, the dragon community. And there's pockets of who does what. Because we all do slightly different things. We all teach different things. You know, some people teach dragon language. Now, to me, dragons don't have a language. They do not have a tongue in the same way as speaking. They work telepathically, and for me through body language and that type of thing. And they've had to learn to speak a formal verbal language. For me, so dragons don't speak language in the same way. But that's, you know, but we all have different experiences. I'm not saying that they're wrong and I'm right. What I'm saying is that is what I know. I can only speak from what I know, and not getting involved in anybody else's work. And it's what resonates with you, what feels right to you. And that's where you get drawn to your teacher, is do they feel right to you? As what they're saying from what you've read about them, you've seen about their posts on social media or their videos or whatever, does it resonate? And that's who you follow and who you work with. Because if it doesn't resonate, it's not going to be right for you. Because what they're saying about dragon and their experiences and their learnings is that your vibration and frequency is the same as theirs, and you sort of have that connection, and others will have a connection with me. So that's all I've come on to say, really, is the dragons are very much about energy, vibration, and particularly frequency. And go where you're drawn and follow your dragon path, follow your dragons. And then if you want a teacher, there are a few of us around, and come and seek us out, and we will share what we've got with you. So I'm going to love you and leave you there. I will really look forward to reading your comments. Please, you know the stuff on social media, the like, the share, the subscribe, and comment. And if you have liked this video, please share it with other dragon people that you know that are into dragon. And I really, really would love to see your comments. And I always try and reply to comments. I might sometimes be a few weeks behind the times, but I will always try and reply to your comments as well. So anyway, take care till next time. Be more dragon news and updates and that kind of thing. Oh, talk about dragon news. You can also sign up to my newsletter. I have a newsletter that you can access to my website and my social media. And on there you get dragon updates and dragon news, but also you get access. Only my people in my Dragon Tribe newsletter have access to discounted courses. So if you sign up for that, you will get the email goes out with a discount code in, and you get discounts off any of my courses that are coming up and my workshops that are coming up, which is not to be missed. Anyway, big love to you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're up to. I will catch you again soon. See ya. Bye for now.